Hey, buddy, hit that subscribe. Just a sec for you, but it means the world to me. They said I was an embarrassment. Not behind closed doors either. Not whispered. Not hinted. They said it out loud with a microphone in front of 200 rich people who were sipping champagne like it was just another Tuesday. We can't let her incompetence stain this legacy anymore. That was my father's voice, smooth, confident, the same voice investors trusted with millions. He lifted his crystal glass, smiling like he was giving a toast of honor, then casually pointed straight at me. I was standing near the back of the vineyard in a server's uniform. Every head turned. Every whisper followed. My mother didn't even flinch. She just took another sip of wine, like she was watching a boring commercial. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I didn't run. I checked my watch. 2011, right on schedule. What my father didn't know, what no one there knew, was that this wasn't the end of my life. It was the moment the trap finally snapped shut. Before I tell you what happened next, and how I legally kicked my own parents out of their multi-million-dollar estate in under 10 minutes, let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever been underestimated by your own family? Yeah, keep that thought. I slipped through the servers' doors into the commercial kitchen. The laughter, applause, and fake smiles vanished the second the heavy steel door shut behind me. Silence. Cold, sterile, peaceful silence. The kind where your thoughts stop racing and everything clicks. I placed a tray of empty champagne flutes on the counter and stared at the manila envelope someone had slipped into my hand moments earlier. Mr. Thorne, my grandmother's old attorney. My hands weren't shaking. That's what 5 years of swallowing disrespect does to you. It trains you to stay calm when everything burns. My name is Cara. I'm 27 years old. And for the last 5 years, my official role in my family's business empire was, get this, unpaid family intern. Yeah, that wasn't an accident. That was my father's idea of a joke. My sister Victoria got $500,000 a year to network in Paris and Milan, fashion shows, luxury hotels, cute Instagram posts. Me? I got a room near the staff quarters and a paycheck that said $0. My father said it was about building character. What he really meant was, you're slow, so you better be grateful we even tolerate you. That was his favorite word for me. Slow. So I worked. I managed estate logistics, balanced commercial accounts, reviewed contracts, designed the new tasting room that Victoria was currently taking credit for outside. But the worst part wasn't the money. It was the paperwork. Every Friday at exactly 5 p.m., my father would call me into his office. He'd slide a timesheet across his massive mahogany desk and say, "Sign it. We need documentation. This is for your improvement." 80 hours. 90 hours. Week after week. I logged everything. While he mocked my handwriting, while he reminded me I was lucky to live under his roof, I kept signing. You're probably wondering why I didn't leave. Why I didn't fight back. Because when cruelty is normal, you don't recognize it as abuse. You just think the world is like that. I believed if I work harder, they'd finally see me. Then I opened the envelope. It wasn't a will. It was an old operating agreement, dated 10 years back, signed by my grandmother, Beatrice. One clause was highlighted in yellow. My chest tightened. I pulled out my phone and opened a private folder. Scans of every single timesheet I'd ever signed. Not because I planned revenge. I just like records. My father thought he was documenting my failure. What he was actually doing was signing his own downfall. Because those signatures didn't prove I was incompetent. They proved he owed me. I closed the folder, picked up the tray again, and walked back toward the vineyard. I wasn't the help anymore. I was the bill collector. And the bill was due. My father thought humiliating me in public would break me. What he didn't know was that every signature he forced me to write had already handed me control of everything he loved. I stepped back into the party like I owned the place. Funny thing, for the first time, I actually did. The room froze when I appeared in the doorway. Champagne glasses midair. Conversations cut off mid-laugh. The spotlight on my father didn't faze me. He was still smiling, smug, thinking I was the same scared kid from 5 years ago. But that kid was gone. I pulled the manila envelope from my bag and let it dangle in front of me. Guess what, Dad? I said, voice calm but deadly. You forgot to read the fine print. He blinked. A pause. Then that fake, practiced chuckle that always gave him away. Cara, this is just a misunderstanding. I shook my head. Nope, not a misunderstanding. You've been signing my wage records for 5 years, thinking it made me look bad. Funny, it actually gave me leverage. A murmur ran through the crowd. Victoria's eyes went wide. She knew. She always knew I could never be underestimated for long. I walked straight up to the podium. The microphone caught my words perfectly, every syllable crystal clear. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to interrupt your soiree, but this family business has a new CEO, effective immediately. The room gasped. My father's face went pale. His crystal glass wobbled in his hand. I let the envelope fall onto the podium, BM, like dropping a bomb. This, I said, waving the operating agreement, is the legal document signed by my grandmother, and it turns out every signature you forced me to write, proof that you owe me control of this empire, and legally, you just handed me the keys. Whispers turned to gasps. My mother's smirk disappeared. Victoria looked like she might faint. I wasn't done. Not even close. I started reading aloud the clauses, the ones that gave me the power to not just run the estate, but to fire anyone at a whim. Every laugh, every insult, every slow comment my father ever threw at me flashed through my mind. The room was silent. And then the first domino fell. One of my father's top managers, a guy who once sneered at me during staff meetings, fainted right onto the champagne table. Glass shattered. Glittering wine spilled like my old dreams. Except now, it was as being crushed. I smiled. Victory never tasted so sweet. Victoria, trying to recover her composure, whispered, Cara, what are you doing? I leaned down, grin wide, voice low but audible to everyone near. Rewriting history, sis. And your Instagram post won't save you here. By the time I walked back to the crowd, everyone knew this wasn't a joke. I wasn't the unpaid intern anymore. I was the storm. And Dad, he tried to speak, but I held up a hand. Nope, not today. Not ever. The party erupted, not with cheers, but confusion, shock, whispers. I let them stew for a minute before heading to the elevator. I had work to do, and the empire wouldn't run itself. Dad thought he could control me. Mom thought I'd crumble under humiliation. Victoria thought she was untouchable. The elevator doors closed behind me, and suddenly silence. Not the party kind of silence. The kind where your heart is racing, but your brain clicks into overdrive. I wasn't just planning revenge. I was planning total takeover. Step 1, audit the entire estate. Every asset, every account, every hidden expense. Step 2, make sure the old man knew exactly how much power he lost. Step 3, have some fun along the way. I pulled out my phone and opened the private folder. Every spreadsheet, every timesheet, every ridiculous note my father made about me being slow. 5 years of mockery? Perfect evidence. I started typing. Numbers, emails, legal notes, everything. By the time I finished, I had a full blueprint. The estate, the vineyards, the luxury suites, even the offshore accounts, all legally under my authority. But here's the fun part. I didn't just want control. I wanted to make a statement. So I called the catering manager. Hey, I said, turn off all the cameras and lock all exits. Oh, and serve another round of champagne. Everyone's about to get a show. By the time I returned to the ballroom, the crowd was buzzing. My father looked like a cornered cat, pacing, muttering something about lawyers, lawyers, lawyers. My mother was frozen, her usual elegance nowhere in sight. I raised my hand, and everyone shut up instantly. Microphone in hand, I said, Everyone, may I have your attention? This estate has a new CEO. And yes, I'm collecting on some old debts. Then I started naming names. Every person who ever tried to sabotage me. Every insider who thought they could outplay the slow girl. Every signature, every document, every favor turned against them. People gasped. Phones came out. Someone whispered, "She's insane and legal." Victoria tried to jump in. "Cara, stop it. This is humili." I cut her off with a smile. "Nah, sis. You should have thought of that before claiming credit for the tasting room I designed." The room went quiet. My sister's Instagram perfect life? Crashing. And Dad? He was sweating bullets. His calm facade? Gone. The same man who humiliated me in front of 200 people? Reduced to muttering, How is this possible?" I leaned in close to the microphone, voice low, venom-laced. 5 years of unpaid labor. 5 years of mockery. 5 years of being called slow. All documented. And today, all that labor pays off. Literally. I own this now. Whispers turned to shock, then confusion, then a weird kind of respect. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. And I loved every second of it. Because for the first time, I wasn't just proving them wrong. I was rewriting the rules. I stepped back, letting the weight of the moment sink in. And that's when it hit me. My father wasn't just angry. He was desperate. And desperate people make mistakes. Big ones. I walked past him, casual, almost bored, like I was leaving a party I'd already won. But in reality, this was just round one. Dad's empire is crumbling. Victoria's Insta dreams are shattered, and Mom? She's realizing her perfect life. Just hit the wall. Morning came, but not quietly. The estate was buzzing like a hive where the Queen just declared war. I didn't waste a second. First call, the vineyard manager. Pack up the exports, check inventory, cancel the next shipment until I give the green light. Cara, that's huge, he stammered. I smiled. Yeah, welcome to the new era, buddy. Then I hit the offices. Every department head got an email titled, "New Rules, New Boss, Read Carefully." By 10 a.m., my phone was blowing up. Lawyers, accountants, even my father's friends calling, wondering if I'd lost it. I hadn't. I was just getting started. First, I fired the yes men. The people who thought loyalty meant ignoring incompetence. The people who laughed when I walked in 5 years ago. Boom. Gone. Just like that. Then I started shifting power. I handed real responsibilities to the staff who actually earned it. People who'd been overlooked, ignored, or laughed at. They were suddenly running key operations. And yes, they were crushing it. I walked through the tasting rooms, watching confused tourists looking at me like I was some kind of legend. One guy whispered to his girlfriend, "Is she the owner?" I nodded. "Yep, and she's awesome." Meanwhile, Dad was spiraling. Every phone call he tried to make was a reminder that he wasn't in charge anymore. Every command ignored. Every suggestion dismissed. Victoria, still trying to play cute, but her Parisian connections couldn't save her here. I cornered her in the wine cellar. "Hey, sis," I said, leaning casually against a barrel. "Remember that tasting room design you bragged about?" "Yeah, mine. All mine." She sputtered. "Cara, you can't just—" "Watch me." I interrupted, smirk in place. By midday, the entire estate was running like a well-oiled machine. Faster, cleaner, smarter. And every corner I passed, whispers followed me. "Who is she?" "She's terrifying." "She's—" "Cara." Exactly. I wasn't just a girl who got mocked anymore. I was a hurricane that made everyone rethink everything. And just when I thought I could breathe, my father walked into main hall, looking like he'd aged 10 years overnight. "Cara, we need to talk," he said, voice shaky. I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, we will talk. But first, you need to understand something. The empire isn't yours anymore. You've been overthrown. Welcome to reality, Dad." His face twisted, rage and disbelief battling it out. He realized too late that every signature he ever forced me to sign, every insult, every belittling comment had been my ladder, not his chains. I smiled calmly. "Part of the fun? Watching you figure that out in real time. Dad is officially dethroned. Victoria's dreams? Crushed. The staff? Thrilled by the time evening hit. The estate was buzzing, but this time it wasn't just about operations. It was about secrets. Because you see, power isn't just about control. It's about knowing everything everyone else is hiding. And I had a front row seat to every skeleton in the family closet. I started digging into the files my grandmother left behind, old contracts, letters, and private journals tucked away in the vault. Some were harmless, well, let's just say certain people were going to choke on their wine tonight. First target, Dad. He'd always prided himself on secrecy. But thanks to me, every shady deal, every hidden asset, every bribe disguised as a business expense, all on my laptop, all ready to be exposed if he didn't play nice. Next, Mom. Oh, Mom, the queen of poise. Turns out elegance doesn't hide everything. I found evidence of offshore accounts, side businesses, and investments no one ever knew about. She had been living a double life. Expensive jewelry, private jets, charity events, all afront. And then there was Victoria, my sister, always flashing smiles on Instagram, always acting like she had it all. Except behind the filter, her life was built on lies, fake partnerships, borrowed ideas, and a mountain of unpaid interns she pretended to mentor. I made a plan. Everyone would get a taste of reality. Not because I'm cruel. Well, maybe a little, but because they needed the lesson. I called a family meeting. Everyone showed up, of course. Dad sweating like a rookie in court. Mom trying to keep her composure. Victoria rehearsing her shocked face. I opened the meeting with a simple line. Family, it's time to get real. Then I laid it all out. Every secret, every deception, every lie. Not angrily, calmly, like a chess master revealing the final move. Faces dropped, eyes widened. Victoria started muttering something about, "How dare you?" But it sounded weak. Dad tried to interrupt. I held up a hand. Not yet, old man. You see, every time you underestimated me, you gave me the ammo I needed. Every insult, every mockery, every forced signature. It built me, not broke me. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Then I smiled. And guess what? I'm just getting started. By the end of that night, everything shifted. They realized the empire wasn't theirs. And I realized something too. Revenge was sweet, but control without clarity is chaos. So I set new rules. Transparency, accountability, efficiency, and yes, a little fun watching the old guard squirm. Secrets exposed, power flipped, families shattered. Morning after the family meeting, the estate felt different. Lighter, cleaner, but danger? Oh, it was still there, lurking in the corners. Because here's the thing. When you flip the table on people who've been running the show for decades, they don't go quietly. Dad, still soaking in his office, muttering about lawyers and this can't be legal. Classic. Mom, attempting the diplomacy routine. Smiles, pleasantries, but everyone could see it cracking. Victoria, scheming, plotting like she always does. I called a strategy meeting with the loyal staff. Listen, I said, slamming my laptop on the table. We've exposed the old guard, but the game isn't over. They will try to sneak back in. Every loophole they think exists will block it. Every attempt will crush it. I started reorganizing operations. Financial audits, supply chain checks, staff promotions. Everything went under my microscope. And every hiccup I found, I turned into leverage. Then came the first attack. A legal notice, faxing like it was 1999, claiming my takeover was invalid due to procedural errors. My father's signature? Fake. Or so they thought. I leaned back, smirking. Cute. I pulled out my private folder, the one with every timesheet, every memo, every proof he ever thought could be used against me. I built my defense in under 30 minutes. Lawyers? Flustered. Judges? Impressed. Dad? Speechless. Next, sabotage attempts. Someone tried to accidentally destroy inventory in the main warehouse. One of my newly promoted staff caught them red-handed, and I let them stew in their own embarrassment for a solid hour before sending them packing. Victoria tried a more subtle attack, manipulating social media to spread rumors about the estate under my leadership. Cute. I had screenshots, timestamps, receipts. I didn't just block her. I exposed her little lies to the entire company. Her followers? Cringing. Sponsors? Questioning her credibility. Mom approached me one evening, voice low. Cara, you're ruthless. Aren't you worried? I smiled, leaning against the desk. Mom, ruthless? Nah, I'm strategic. Calculated. I play smart, not dirty. But trust me, when you've been underestimated your whole life, you learn fast. By nightfall, the estate wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. The vineyards were running smoother. The staff were energized, and the empire locked down tighter than ever. But even as I sat back, I knew the biggest challenge is still coming. I've crushed the first wave of attacks. I've exposed lies, fired the weak, and secured the empire. The morning air was crisp, almost mocking. Calm before the storm? Nah, this was a storm. And I was right in the center, eyes wide open, ready for the final move. Dad, Mom, Victoria, they all thought they had one last trick up their sleeve. One final attempt to reclaim what they assumed was theirs. Classic mistake. Underestimating me again. It started with a board meeting. Dad strutted in, suit tight, confidence fake as ever. Cara, maybe we can... I cut him off. Sit down. Let me show you something. I pulled up the estate's latest financials, operations, audits, and... oh yeah, the damning evidence of every shady move they ever tried to hide. Hidden accounts, mismanaged investments, fake invoices, the whole 9 yards. Victoria tried to interrupt, whining, Cara, you don't have to. Sure, I said, finger to lips. The board was watching. Staff were watching. And for the first time, my family realized I was in full control. Then came the ultimate power play. I presented a proposal, restructure the estate, kick out dead weight, promote competent staff, redistribute profits fairly. And the kicker? Every clause legally binding, all backed by my grandmother's agreements and my father's own signatures. By the time I finished, the room was silent. My father's face had gone white. Mom's elegance had crumbled into desperation. Victoria's eyes, wide, hopeless, finally seeing the truth. You can't do this, Dad stammered. I leaned forward, calm as a stormy sea. Oh, I already did. Legally. Professionally. And yeah, I did it with style. The board voted. Unanimously. Every staff member and manager present supported me. Every loophole they thought existed closed. Every power grab they tried. No. I stood up. The final mic drop. Ladies and gentlemen, the empire isn't just surviving, it's thriving. And it's never going back. Victoria slumped, defeated. Dad muttered something about lawyers. Mom's face was a mask, barely holding it together. But me? I was smiling, relaxed, victorious. Then, the moment I've been waiting for, a text from my grandmother, Beatrice, in her sharp, witty tone. Well done, Cara. You've made me proud. Now finish building your empire. I looked around the estate, every corner humming with life, every employee thriving, and realized this wasn't just revenge. This was legacy. I had taken control, not just of a business, but of my story, my name, my power, my future. And the best part? Every single person who doubted me had been forced to watch, helpless. I was the girl who got called slow, the unpaid intern, the family embarrassment. Now, I'm the CEO, the storm, the unstoppable force. And if anyone ever doubts me again, they'll learn the hard way. Because here's the truth. Underestimate me once, shame on you. Underestimate me twice, and you'll be history.